This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and it's come upon us. It is NFL Week 1 here in Las Vegas. So this is honestly one of the bigger weeks of the year, especially in terms of sports books in Las Vegas and people traveling to the city. Really, it's become one of those bigger events that really matches things like, I would say, like March Madness. March Madness is a huge event, by the way. Like that week or those first 2 weeks are actually some of the busiest of the year. But it's actually a little bit harder to watch NFL games than you think. And that's why I thought it was important to sort of bring this up, just because I did go out to the Strip on Saturday, which was week 1 of college football, just because I wanted to get sort of like what the vibes was like, what it was like trying to find a place to watch any of the games, because it used to be much easier. You used to be able to walk into any sports book in Las Vegas and were able to, find a spot to stand, maybe even find a spot to sit and watch the games. But it's really become much more expensive and much harder to find these options, especially on the Strip. But I'm going to try to help you guys out and find a few places for you to watch the games if you're coming on, say, college football Saturday or week 1 of the NFL season. So this also goes for any big events. This is also, a good planning for if you're listening to after, week 1 of the NFL, a good place to, if anybody who's listening wants to see a big event, like a UFC event, these usually go hand in hand in terms of where to find a lot of these places. So I'm going to dive into that in this episode on week 1 of the NFL and where's the best place to watch the games here on Concierge Confidential. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. And I have to say again, I listened back to the last episode, which was my first time doing it in a new spot. There is a little bit of an echo. I do hear it. I'm sorry. But we'll get it worked out. We'll figure out some padding on walls and stuff. But I thought it'd be important to make sure we got this out just because, we really want to, get this episode out. So let's get into it. So I would say that I'm a little bit of an expert in terms of where to watch sports in Las Vegas. I do have the advantage of being single, so it's actually much easier for me than it would be for a group of people, say, a group of 4 or 6 guys, just because then at that point it gets really difficult trying to find places where it's comfortable for a whole group to be able to sit down and watch the game. So let's go and just kind of go over it really quickly. So everybody always knows, or has known at this point, that Circa Las Vegas has one of the largest screens in the entire world in terms of when it comes to watching games in a sports book. And that's true. But it's actually one of my least favorite places to watch games because it's actually kind of inaccessible for people like me who are trying to, save a little bit of money. But also somebody who doesn't like to sit for the entire time. I like to be able to be mobile. And that's what I enjoyed about old school sports books. So I'll go over some places that if you have the means, if you would like to have this experience, just because I should also full disclosure say that I do work at Circa in a TV studio. So I'm there actually every single day of the year. Besides the weekends. So I know what it's like to watch games in there and that, the sort of ways to get around it. But I don't usually go there my days off just because I'm there every day. It's sort of like going back to where you work. But anyways, let's talk about it really quickly. So if you want to watch the games at Circa, these are for whole day pricings. If you're a single person and you sit at one of the recliners inside of Circa Sportsbook, you're looking at $1,200 for one person. So that's going to be at, one of the leather chairs that's towards the front. It's usually the first 2 rows of that sports book, and you do have to lean up quite a bit to actually see the screen. So it's actually not the absolute greatest view, but if you want something that's sort of padded, that isn't like a stadium style chair, that's going to be your best option. A lot of these places, when they have these prices, like the $1,200 for it's food and beverage minimum, or food and beverage credit, essentially. So you do get that for the entire day in terms of food and drink. And usually the food is going to be from Saginaw's, or it's going to be from the barbecue place outside. Actually, not Saginaw, excuse me. It's going to be from the burger place, on the 2nd floor, which does deliver to your seat, which is, quite nice. I did look at other prices for the rest of the sports book if you are coming as a group. So the way that you do this, by the way, so you're actually going to be going to Circa's website and you're going to find the sports book. And then from there, it should be pretty easy to find like where you make the reservations. Click on the day that you'd be coming. So this would be Sunday, the 7th of September. And you can do full day, morning, or evening. Full day is from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. That essentially gets you the early morning games, the afternoon games, and then the night game. Also, public service announcement for anybody coming to Las Vegas for football. We start games very early here, especially if you're here for college football. The college football games start typically at noon Eastern time. That's 9 o'clock Pacific. So just be ready to have to, get up early to watch these games. Especially those of you who are Patriots fans who love to watch those early games and are like, hey, or the New Yorkers. The New Yorkers are the best. They're like, oh, man, the game starts at 1, doesn't it? And then, nope, game started at 10, baby. So, anyways, let's go and look at what a full day is going to cost you. So, we clicked on the full day. It'll give you all these options. So, essentially, I like to go through the map option because I think it's much, much easier. If you're a list person who likes to purchase tickets, you're actually a crazy human. I don't know anybody who likes purchasing off a list rather than a map. It is honestly should be outlawed to do the list version. So anyways, let's talk about it. So if you are going to get a seat in the Circa Club lower level, which that's 6 people, essentially a booth. And again, it's just like a regular style booth, sort of like a theater style booth. That's going to be $6,000 for the booth itself. Makes sense just because essentially you're paying $1,000 per person, hence why it is $6,000 for a maximum of 6 guests. So they're expecting you to have 6 guests to come with you. They also have an upper and a lower. Not a huge difference. The only major difference is the upper one is obviously higher and gives you a better view of the screen itself. But the booths are a little bit higher, sort of like what you would find in a steakhouse. So those are going to be a little bit higher level. And then you get to the Circa Sports Suites. That's actually like the actual casino floor that has video poker machines on the tops, and those are actually like converted into like little spaces, like little sections with stanches and such, where you and your friends have seats. You can walk around, stand around if you want, and have that little space to yourself. That has a maximum of 12 guests, and that actually goes for $8,000. So essentially, it's actually kind of like a nice little deal if you have that many guests, because if you're looking at something that has 6 guests, and you get the Circa like regular suites, those are $6,000. If you're getting this one, you can have up to 12 guests, and it's $8,000. So it's only $2,000 more, which actually makes it like a nice little value at that point. And that does provide you with the best viewing opportunities. I would definitely say the Circa Sports Suites, if you're looking online, is the best option in terms of watching the screens themselves. You get the full view of all the screens from left to right, up, down, and it's like the perfect level. You're also able to get out and go to the restroom much easier, because if you basically sit anywhere else in the sportsbook, you have to go up and down stairs or the escalator that goes to and from the bottom level of the sportsbook. I didn't mention this, that they also do have their stadium-style seating. So the stadium-style seats are exactly what they sound like. They have like fold-down chairs, essentially, that fold down, and then they have like a little like sort of school, like a schoolhouse sort of table that goes on top. It's sort of, flips up. Those go for $400 per person. These are all before taxes and fees. I believe the $400 does not get you food and beverage minimum. I'm actually just clicking on more info just so I can get that going. So stadium style seats with foldable tray and cup holders attached. Doesn't come with anything. It might come with like maybe 2 drinks, essentially, is what you get, but it's not going to be the same as the other options, which have a food and beverage minimum that come with it. So also note the difference is that when you click on the lower, like the booths, it'll say package. And when you click on things like the stadium style seats, it just says rental. It's a very important distinction, because the rentals mean that there is no food and beverage attached to it. Packages mean there's a food and beverage attached to that option. Also, they do have another option, which is on their second floor, which is their balcony boxes. Those are $7,000 for 8 people. Those are okay viewing, but you are kind of set back from the actual balcony area, so it's actually kind of hard to see the games. But those that's a lot. I mean, if I had 8 guests, because that's the maximum is 8 guests for that section, I would just get those 8 guests to get the get the suites, and then you get it for $8,000 per person. It's essentially what you're paying for this, and I don't know. I think it's a better value. Well, I think I just found a chink in the armor there. But anyways, moving on. You can also, if you really want to experience Circa, which I mean, it's a once sort of in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people. I would recommend as well going to the pool area. If you want to go to the pool, they do have all the games that will be on their big giant screen on the outside. And usually has different configurations, so you can watch all the games. That's usually going to go for, I just checked, it's going to go for $100 per person. Sometimes it includes a drink, maybe 1 or 2 drink tickets. We're able to get a drink while you're on the outside, but other than that, the drinks are, for purchase when you're out there. They also have packages that you can purchase out at the pool. They are quite pricey. These are obviously not going to be as expensive as the ones inside, just because you are outside in September when it's very, very hot. But the upper day beds, which holds up to 6 guests, that's going to be $3,000 for a group. And then if you get a cabana, the cabanas can fit up to 14 people. That's $7,000. And then I believe that's all they have. So essentially $7,000 and $3,000 are what you're looking at. And then they also have their chairman boxes, which don't have prices at the moment, or they're sold out. So that's that for Circa. But overall, Circa is a really good place to watch the games, especially if you are a large group, just because they have many group options in terms of these booths. So this is probably the best place for larger groups and obviously people who have disposable income who would like to experience Circa here in Las Vegas, because it is quite impressive, especially if you've never been here. It's a really great way to watch the games and really catch what the vibe is of Vegas on a Super Sunday. So moving on from that, let's go to the Strip, because that's downtown. I know a lot of people who come to Las Vegas go to the Strip because, hey, that's where I like to go. Again, it's become much harder to watch these games, and this actually has me going on like a little bit of a tangent with you guys, because I was wondering when do I fit this in. Probably should have did it earlier in the pod, but I ended up going to Bottled Blonde, and I made a pretty harsh statement on Twitter saying that this place needs to figure their shit out. Honestly, it is kind of, I don't want to say embarrassing. That's not a nice word, but you're such a big deal, wherever you are, like Nashville or wherever you're from. And the problem is that when you come to Vegas, it's important to market, especially because there's so many other bars here. And I think this is the problem that they've had, is that they've had really bad marketing for this place. They haven't announced that they're open anywhere. Not on the radio, not on TV, not on any socials. I don't see anything on YouTube. I don't see anything on Instagram, which I'm on constantly. And my algorithm is set to Vegas things, and nothing is said about. I saw one time somebody posted at their grand opening, and again, it was influencers that I follow, that it's open. It's oh, it's open. We had a big giant gala or big giant opening. I've been back 3 times on 3 different occasions, different times of the day, and you're never busy. That is a problem. The first time I went was actually on an afternoon, on a Friday. It was a Friday afternoon. Not really a lot going on, so I didn't really judge them hard for that. It was not bad. They had the doors open. It's a beautiful little spot right in the middle of the Strip, and it was fine. It was okay. Totally fine. By the way, same bartender when I was there the first time. So then I went back a second time. I went back on a Saturday. This was back on the episode when I was talking about, Carmella over at Planet Hollywood. I had decided to walk over to the Bottled Blonde. It was 11:30 at night. 11:30 on a Saturday in Las Vegas, and this place was dead. I've seen bars in Tucson, Arizona busier than this place was on a Saturday night at 11:30. That's prime time, 11:30. And this is the thing, is that they were open to the public. It was free to get in. There was no cover charge. There was a DJ. They're right on the Strip. Good view of people walking in and out. There was absolutely nobody there. That is a problem. Then, number 3, I got there on Saturday for week 1 of college football, which is a big week. Big matchups early in the day. They had a matchup right at noon Eastern, which that's 9 o'clock Pacific. I got there about 9:25, so I was about 25 minutes late of like when the first big game was, which was Texas versus Ohio State. And there were people waiting outside of Bottle Blonde to get in, and they were still not open. I then went online to check and see what time they're supposed to open, because maybe you're supposed to open at 9:30. I get it, like, it's 9:30. They're supposed to be open at 9 o'clock, and there were still no doors open at 9:25. I actually started walking up the stairs to go over to Bellagio, and then I saw the doors open, so I went back. And they were super understaffed. They only had 2 people working, a bartender and like a helper, like a busser or like a bartender apprentice. And they were the only 2 guys working. There were probably 2 managers there. I'm assuming they were managers. And it took a very long time to get my drink because there were only 2 of them working. Things are a problem when the busboy or the bartender apprentice is just handing out random waters to everybody to keep us quiet because it's taking so long to get your drinks. I do not put any of this on the actual employees themselves, just because, they're employees. There's only 2 of them. They're trying to deal with a lot of stuff going on, but this is very much on management for not being ready to go week 1 of college football, which you should also understand that there is a week 0 of college football, which sounds stupid. It's really ridiculous. It's so dumb, but you have like kind of this training week to know that, oh, football's here. Maybe I should have my stuff ready for the next week. So week 1 rolls around and you guys are still not ready. Also, there were probably about 12 to 15 games on at 9 o'clock because, it's noon everywhere else. And in this bar that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they had no less than 12 TVs. Let's just say 15, actually, just to sort of round it up, because there's 2 sides, obviously. They only had 2 games on at that time. Texas and Ohio State, which was the biggest game. Then they had Syracuse and some other random game. And that's not good. You need to figure out that, hey, this is when we make our money, is during college football and the NFL season. Any consultant could tell you this, that you need to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be ready to go, because once I figure out that you guys don't know your shit, and especially goes a lot for people who watch sports, that you aren't going to have enough games. Because I was only watching 1 game. I was watching Texas, Ohio State. That's not the problem. It was cool for me that day. I don't care. But if I'm coming back on Super Bowl Sunday, because this is also like a research sort of trip to see, hey, like maybe I want to hang out here like on a Sunday to watch games. I don't now that I know that you guys are going to be incompetent and not be ready to go. So I'm not going to trust you guys to have your shit together. So I won't be going there on Sunday because of this experience. And again, this isn't fair, just because I am somebody who gets to talk about Vegas and explain my experiences. Maybe if you came to Vegas and you walked in and it was all perfect, it's good for you. But it is what it is. That's sort of like the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So just wanted to share my experience that way, is that it was not great. Also, they serve sodas like in like little, like the half glasses, like cocktail glasses. Don't do that. Do it in the water glass. Like, what are we doing? Anyways, that was my tangent on why you should not go to Bottled Blonde if you're trying to watch any sports, because they were not ready. So until they get ready, I would stay away from Bottled Blonde. Speaking of Bottled Blonde, right next door is the Beer Park, which the Beer Park is one of my favorite places to go to watch a lot of sports. Really tough, though, because the Beer Park has become so popular that it's actually tough to watch games there if you're somebody who doesn't want to spend too much money. Just because they typically do have a spending minimum there. They do have like if you are sitting at the bar, you have to spend like $100 or $125 for the first set of games. So that is an option to you. They also are a good place for groups, just because they have very large tables that you can sit at. It's also a great place to go, especially once like October runs around and like the weather is actually nice. This place has many, many TVs. You're not going to miss any of the games. So this is a really great option if you are a very large group. I would highly recommend, making reservations in advance. They do as well. It looks like they do open at 9 o'clock. It is on their website. I would also, this is a very good traveling tip. If you're looking to watch the game someplace other than a sports book, or even if you are looking for a sports book, a lot of these places have event pages. So go to their event page and then click on the day that you're trying to go, which is usually, it'll say Super Bowl, Sunday football. Click on it to where it says reserve now, and usually it will show you what the pricing is going to be. I do have a problem with this one because there is no pricing on this option. I would say that you're probably looking somewhere in, for a group of 6, you'd probably be looking at somewhere around the $700 range, maybe less. You might be looking at $550. That'd be cool too. I'm just sort of guesstimating for a table here at Beer Park. But I do enjoy Beer Park. I know it's kind of annoying. I like to go for the World Series just because that's a little bit more niche, and it's only one game. And it could be as many games as you need the series to be. But I do like Beer Park if you wanted a restaurant-style option. So let's get to sports books, because sports books is really where I like to sort of highlight. They used to be so much easier. You just walk in, watch the game. One of my favorite sports books to watch football games at, if I was going on the Strip, would be Mandalay Bay, because it is still an old school style sports book. It's one of those sports books that's really big, really airy, bunch of TVs on the screen, really big. You just sort of wander in and out. There's not a choke point. It's not sort of cornered off like a lot of other places now are, that they've become sort of like bar and grills now. I really enjoy Mandalay Bay's setup. You can just walk in, find a seat, sit down, you're good to go, and you can watch all the games. So Mandalay Bay, to me, is probably one of the better sports books if you want that style of vibe, where you don't mind maybe standing, or if you're getting there early and you can watch the games. And then, of course, there's a bunch of food and stuff you can get around there. Around that area, they do have Flankers, which Flankers is more of a restaurant and sports bar style. Much more new wave, very, very millennial. I don't like these setups. You can try it out if you're over at Mandalay Bay, but this would maybe be good, a good alternative if you're looking to find a sports bar sort of style inside of one of these properties. Another place I really enjoy is at the Park MGM. The Park MGM is where they have their sports book, the BetMGM Sportsbook and Bar. The sportsbook part of it kind of sucks, coming from somebody who works in sports betting, but it is actually a nice little place to have drinks. I also found out if you don't go on event days, they do have happy hour there. So they have a happy hour from 7 to close where you can get a beer for $7.77. That's not bad, but make sure you read the fine print that it is not on event days. So Super Bowl, so Sunday football or college football, or let's just say UFC doesn't apply here. You do have to pay full prices for those. But good to know. If you go on a Wednesday, they do have happy hour from 7 o'clock to close. So that's good to note. And I'm looking out for those of you who are looking for budgets in Las Vegas. But this place, pretty cool. You can, I believe, make a reservation. You do have to walk up and make it. I believe you can't make it online because it's sort of first come, first serve. But get there early and get a good spot. Lots of TVs. They have actually 4 sides, but really 2 main sides that have the big giant screens that can split into 4. This would be actually a pretty good place to watch the games just because it's in sort of a nice center location where you can look around. They have TVs all around the bar area. Also, the food is fantastic. I love the side Betty bar. It's absolutely delicious. I love the burgers from there. The wings are pretty good, very large. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of those, but if you like larger wings, this is a good choice. But the BetMGM sports bar and sportsbook, it's really great at the Park MGM. So would recommend. It's also great for standalone games like Thursday night, Friday night, Sunday night football. Really fantastic. Also, public service announcement. The Thursday night football game is on. Is it on Amazon? Oh my goodness, I forgot. Dang it, I forgot. But Friday night, I believe, is on Peacock. So make sure you are checking with that. Actually, I think the opening game... you guys will figure it out. Sorry. I tried to be helpful and I forgot. So anyways, moving on. So we talked about Beer Park. We talked about Mandalay Bay. Talked about Park MGM. What's another good place to go? So, another good place to go, if you don't mind going a little bit off of the Strip, but it's still close by, but I would definitely say it's worth it, is the Whiskey Bar at the stadium. So, this is a big, giant bar that is across the street from Allegiant. Couple caveats to this. This is a really great place to go before an event at Allegiant because everybody is there. It is a very large space. It is made for that. It is made to have lots of people. It's really cool. It's even better when there's not an event there because this would be a great place to watch the football games because of all of the TVs on the inside and, of course, the proximity to the Strip. And if it's not super busy, you're able to take it in and out of there very easily with an Uber or a Lyft from any of the properties. I do not recommend walking there. It is too hot. Do not do that. I am looking out for your safety. I think they also have free parking if you go on non-event days. So if there is a Raider game there, just understand that there will be parking fees. And this place will be absolutely packed with Raider fans and visiting fans too. Because, who knows who's coming to town. But anyways, the Whiskey Bar at the stadium, very good. The food's fine. I think it's fine. But, good beer on tap. It's a good location. Highly recommend the Whiskey Bar if you're going to watch any games on Sundays. I would highly recommend that. So, kind of cruising up and down, the Strip itself. Another couple options that I would recommend would be Jason Aldean's is good. Only annoying thing with Jason Aldean's is that they still don't put the sound on for the games. And again, I haven't spent a Sunday there, but I've been there for the NBA Finals, and they still have people playing music in the background. So who knows how that's going to go. Maybe I'll trek out and check it out for one of these Sundays, when my team plays later in the day. But I don't know, just maybe read the room and give your band the day off that day, at least during football season. But I know for the Super Bowl, they did have it on the sound. So I think it's actually not a bad place to try to watch the games at Jason Aldean's if you wanted to check it out. So Jason Aldean's, I love that place. They have lots of screens, lots of TVs. I don't see it being a problem to watch any of the games at Jason Aldean's. I think they can make lots of money there, to be honest. But maybe give that an option if you're in town for the games. Cosmopolitan is kind of ass. It used to be cool. It used to be really awesome because it was more first come, first serve. You find your seat, you sit down. My dad watched the whole Super Bowl from there, from one of the bar top corners. But now it's everything else that MGM does, super regulated. They have stanchions, they have to charge for the seats, they have all these rules, and that obviously just cuts down on any of the fun that you could possibly have, at least from my point of view. So I hate that. I hate when they charge for those things. Don't pay for viewing parties. If you're at a thing that is not set up to be a sports bar, Circa, that's set up to watch sports. They know who they're getting to. Don't go to the Click Lounge at the Cosmo. Where they just set up TVs. That's a waste of money. Don't do that. I also fucking hate that place. Sorry for cussing, Mom. I really apologize. But that place is such a ripoff. It's so terrible. I hate the Click Lounge. The Click Group also kind of sucks in general, who are in charge of all the lounges in Las Vegas, especially the ones owned by MGM, but that's neither here nor there. That's just me. The Caesars Sportsbook, absolutely fantastic. Love the Caesars Sportsbook. Only problem is you got to get there early, just because they do have the bar top seating at the bar, which to me is honestly the way that I'd want a sportsbook to be set up, is that you have a bar with bar tops where you can view the screens while you're having a cocktail at the bar. And then you can have all the other stuff closer to the actual, inside the sportsbook if you want. But I really like their setup, and I think they've upgraded their screens. Really fantastic. The one place that I just totally spaced on recommending is the Westgate Superbook. The Superbook, which used to be sort of the standard bearer for sports books in Las Vegas, really is a great place to watch the games. They have a great food court. Not a food court. They have a great grill right behind the sports book that is great. Chicken fingers, fantastic. They also do burgers, pizza, and really great sort of snack foods if you want to watch the games and eat something. I really like it. It's a little, slightly pricey, but not everything in Vegas is pricey. But the Westgate Superbook obviously has really good odds. They have lots of prop bets. They have lots of futures, which is nice. And it's very large. I love a large open sports book. And they do have an auxiliary room that they open up, I believe, in the showroom. We're able to go in. I don't know if there's a charge for it, but you're able to go in the showroom and watch the games from the showroom area, which has all the games as well. So the Westgate Superbook, a really great option if you're looking for a good place to watch the games, especially if you have, watching all of them. That's a really great choice. Let's talk about the Fontainebleau and the Resorts World. Not like the 100% greatest places to watch the football games. I do not like the Fontainebleau Sportsbook. I think it is absolute trash. Don't recommend going to watch more than one game there. If you're going there for like a standalone specific game, you could do it. It's also one of those places where there is a restaurant right next to the sportsbook, but like they don't talk to each other. Like they don't know what they're doing. Like I went there for oh my goodness, it had to be like a Friday game, like a weird Friday game. And it was on Peacock, which like whenever something's on a streamer, it's always kind of 50-50 whether like one of these restaurants will have it. Sportsbooks will figure it out, but like for restaurants, sometimes they don't figure it out. And the restaurant TVs are different than the sportsbook TVs. And when you tell the restaurant people like what's going on, they don't know what's going on. They can't figure it out. They don't want to go talk to the sportsbook people, and it takes absolutely forever, and then sometimes it never gets done. So I don't like to recommend the Fontainebleau Sportsbook because it is absolutely terrible. Let's talk about Resorts World really quick. Resorts World does have Red Tail, which does have a very cool vibe, especially if you're somebody who's like a millennial and you have a large group that wants to do multiple different things while watching the games. Red Tails is not bad. They do have same spending minimums that you're going to find around the strip, but that is an option for you. They also have their sportsbook actually like goes into what's called the Doghouse, which is sort of like a country bar, which does show the games inside of their area. They have a good amount of TVs. So not a bad option if you're on the northern end of the strip. Wouldn't hate it. Also, like the Wynn has one of the prettier sports books, but it's a little bit congested. A lot of high rollers in there, so you're not really going to be able to get a seat anywhere. You can try to get a seat over at the bar top area, but that place is always busy as well. Charlie's does have a time limit, so you're only able to sit there for like I think 2 hours before you have to like move out of your seat. And again, that's if it's available. So I don't always like to recommend the Wynn in terms of a good place to watch the game. So. Not a big fan for watching more than one game, although everything else is awesome. The other options, Venetian, their sportsbook is fine. I used to like it so much better because it was so much more similar. It was very cutting edge back in the day. It was very clean. The TVs were very sharp. Now everything has like these sort of like low seats, which I hate. Fontainebleau has these same seats that are absolutely god awful, where they're just super, super uncomfortable, and you're basically laying down watching the games. And they have the same thing. And I think that's a Yahoo Sportsbook if you end up watching it there. That's at the Venetian property. One of my biggest things that I tell everybody is that get there early. If you are very particular about having a seat or being able to watch a football game on Sundays, the games start at 10. Get there at like 9, maybe 9:30, but 9 o'clock is what I recommend if you're trying to get a seat somewhere. So people will already be there, to be honest with you. It'll be really tough, but that's what I recommend. I also recommend that you get your bets in the day before. Especially if you're betting at the counter, because the lines will be astronomically long. They've gotten shorter now that people have gotten apps, so I would recommend if you're able to get an app. It is easy. It is also dangerous if you get an app in Las Vegas, because then it's too easy to make your bets. I personally do not use apps to gamble with, just because it's sort of like a natural like stopper, like don't spend any money, because you could just be laying at home and then boom, fire off a 16 parlay if you wanted to. But that's just from something that I've sort of figured out while living in Las Vegas and sort of working in the sports betting industry, that I would need for myself. Everybody has different blockers for themselves. But I do recommend, the apps are very convenient, like especially if you're somebody who's on your phone a lot, it's much easier. You don't have to wait in line, you don't have to get closed out, and it's a really great way to live bet if you're doing it. So Really fun. Places off the strip, South Point's really good. I would also recommend the Durango Sportsbook is quite nice. They also have a nice outdoor area, which shows a lot of the games. I would actually recommend it, even if you're staying on the strip, to venture out to the Durango Casino, because their sportsbook is quite new and has lots and lots of TVs, as well as their outdoor space, which I forget the name at the moment. It's not called the Yard. I forgot what it's called. But it's actually, quite good. I would highly recommend the Durango Sportsbook is good. Red Rock Sportsbook is quite nice as well. I would also say the Sunset Sportsbook is quite nice as well. They all kind of like redid their sportsbooks, so basically all the sportsbooks are really nice. I also really enjoy the Green Valley Ranch Sportsbook. So honestly, really great choices all around. At any station's property, their sports books are really top notch. This isn't actually a station's casino, but oh my goodness, what is the name of it? Not South Point. It is. I'm blanking on the name right now. It's next to the JW Marriott. My goodness. I forgot the name of it. Not Aliante. For those of you, when my dad texts me, he's like, "It's Aliante." Not Aliante. It's Suncoast. The Suncoast. Is it the Suncoast? Okay, now I got to Google. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Mom. My mom hates when I Google stuff while I'm doing the podcast. Yeah, Suncoast. So the Suncoast actually has a beautiful sports book. But again, it's off the strip. You got to drive out there to get there. But Suncoast, quite nice little sports book. So I think I gave you guys lots of options. I basically ran through most of the strip. Hopefully it's something that you can catch on to and, find a place to watch the games at. I know I closed one. If you go to New York, they have Tom's Urban or Tom's Watch Bar. Really great place to watch games. Lots of TVs. They're basically made so you can watch TVs. They actually had to make that place a place to watch games and these big events because their sports book sucks so bad at New York. So Tom's Watch Bar is really fantastic. I've watched games with my dad. Really great. So highly recommend Tom's Watch Bar at New York for a place to watch the games. Even if you have kids, I believe you can also watch in there too if you want to, but double check that just because I rattled off the top of the dome. But anyways, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Really hope you enjoyed today's episode, getting you prepped for the football season. And this is really going forward for any other football event going on for the rest of the fall into the winter time. So thanks, guys, for listening. Make sure you follow us on Concierge Confidential _LV on the Instagram. And if you see me out in town, come up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.